Okay. Oh, we have one more person. Hello, everyone that's joining us for the RSI showcase. People seem to be trickling in at a steady clip, more than I thought. This is wonderful. Welcome, everyone, to the RSI showcase. I think I'll give it maybe a few more minutes while people trickle in before I start going over or I start just playing through the short video clips that some of our members have contributed. And so what I thought I could do was introduce each video, and then I don't think we have one that's over 5 minutes. I think that's the longest one. Most of them are around 3. And I thought after each video, we could allow some time for comments or questions because each person that's contributed an example of RSI is here in our meeting. So that should be great. Anybody have any questions? I'm recording the meeting as well. So that I think Laura, can I just send that to you and then you'll put it on the professional development side, or how did you want to work that?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Sorry, I was having mic problems earlier. Yes, so just send the recording to me and I'll get it on the professional development YouTube channel.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
Yes, and we have lots of great things on there, everyone. So please check it out. We have the whole AIPD series that we recently did, and we'll get this one uploaded soon too.
Is that AIPD series, is that being repeated somewhere else I saw, or is that something completely different?
So Rodrigo is doing some with the district. I'm not sure if he's planning to do the full series again, but he has done at least the first one. So we did 5 workshops. He did a repeat of the first one recently.
Okay. Yeah, good to know. I was able to go to a couple of the initial ones, but then I couldn't make it, so I'll look forward to checking those out. All right, we are at 12:36, so I think what I will do is cue up our first video, which is from our own Dr. Johnson Shipman.
And thank you, Angela. And just remember, not the whole video, just about a minute and a half in, because we don't need to see the whole thing.
Thank you for the reminder.
Thank you.
Because I would not have remembered that, and we would have been sitting here. Yeah. Okay. So is everybody able to see Stephanie's on our screen? And then I'm just going to start playing it. And I'm hoping the sound works. I hope I set this all up correctly, but let me know if it doesn't.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to week 10. Thank you for turning in your annotated bibliography last week. There are many benefits to that assignment, and there are many reasons why I enjoy it. However, I'll share one more practical reason I really appreciate the annotated bibliography. You found 5 sources, and they were careful and credible sources that are related to your research topic. In addition, you found key quotes, and you summarized the reading in your own words. You carefully read the assignment, and you did the annotation. That is important preparation for the research paper. Now, let's say life happens in the next couple of weeks, and maybe you get off track in this class or something else comes up. we all have a tendency to get behind. Rather, we're all human beings. So maybe you might get behind or procrastinate. If you do procrastinate on the research paper, well, at least you have 5 sources that you carefully read and are related to your research topic that you can potentially start using as CERs in your body paragraphs to start building your final argument. In other words, you have a strong foundation of sources. Give yourself credit for that and pat yourself on the back for having that important part of the process done. In week 10, which has...
Is that where you wanted it to end, Stephanie?
Sorry, I was muted, but yes, that's where we can end, Angela. So if I can give just a little bit more context, this is a weekly video for my asynchronous classes. And each week I make a video addressing the week. And so I share this as an example because it shows an announcement, it shows connection and expansion to course content, and also just an element of humanizing the course. And so it was just, when I rewatched it, I said, hey, this is going to work well, I think, because of the discussion of the particular assignments and the benefits and where we're going next in the course.
I like it.
Yeah,
does anybody have any questions or comments for Stephanie?
I just want to ask, so Stephanie, you do, this is like in lieu of an announcement, a written announcement, you do a little video announcement each week?
I'll do both. So I have my welcome announcement each week. I try to keep it short. The materials are available. Thank you for being here. And then I'll put an announcement in. And then I'll also put this, or rather a video in, the welcome video, and I'll put this in the module itself underneath the agenda and overview side, so they can see it in 2 places. And in my written announcements that go out, I explain that to students, say, be sure to log on to the announcement section to watch the video or see it in the Canvas module. So I'll do both, some written and then a video greeting. I usually try to keep it 3 to 4 minutes. Sometimes it's a little bit longer, but just a quick way to say hi and expand on any content or anything that came up in the prior week, or to clarify a bit more. Because in my courses, I also have some video lessons and video lectures recorded by me.
Anybody else? Questions or comments? I really like this. I've been trying to do every Monday announcement, I try to put a video. I have to tell you, like, I cannot stand watching my own videos. I cannot imagine. Like, so I always say, I don't know what you think of this or anybody here, Stephanie, like, I always say it's optional. Like, you don't have to watch this because I certainly don't want to. And I just try to put like, okay, this is the same, but at the same time, there's times like for me, like, or for all of us, like if I'm walking my dog or doing or cleaning or something, like I really want the audio. So some students may benefit from that. And then others may just be faster at reading. So I always like, right now, all my videos are optional, but is that the way it should be? Or I don't know.
I don't specify if it's optional or not. I always keep it informal. Watch the video, make sure. I'll put questions in there or ways for students to connect. I'll say, let me know how your week is going or your research project, message me by the end of the week. Or I'll even throw an extra credit to see who's watching it, but it's not tied to a course grade or anything like that, which is a contrast to some of the more videos and lectures that are based on course content that are tied to other types of assignments. So I keep this one a little bit more informal, but I know that we can probably look to see how many students are watching or engaging with any particular video, but usually I'll find out in my Canvas inbox within a day or two who's watching.
Interesting. Okay. Anybody else?
I was just going to share, well, thank you for sharing. I do weekly videos. It does take me, like you said, Angela, many takes before I actually post it. But the feedback that I have gotten from students, I agree that some students are auditory learners, visual learners. But for the most part, the students, even though it takes longer for me to do the video, the feedback that I have gotten from the students is they have absolutely enjoyed that video because it helps them feel connected to the class. So that's the feedback that I've been getting from the students, that it's really enjoyable. But at the same time, yes, I do both. I do the written one, but I also do the audio. But it would be great if we could track or continue to get feedback on the audio piece, because it's been great since I moved over to start doing this. So thank you for sharing and reminding me how important it is.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Stephanie. I think that's such a good reminder that even for the ones that don't watch it, it's so important. I think for some, just like Dawn said, like, it's so important for the auditory visual learners or those that are a little unsure. Am I reading this right? When they have you explaining it, makes a world of difference. So yeah, good piece that I think, great example of RSI that we could all really easily, put into our classes. So thank you, Stephanie.
I just wanted to mention,
oh, Melissa, sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I know there's only so many things on the screen.
Yeah, I know. My screen's too crowded.
I just wanted to say, I don't know why I've never thought of putting the video in the Canvas module. Like I put it in the announcements and it never occurred to me to like put that in the module at the top. I just wrote that down. I'm like, that's brilliant. Announcement and module for the week. Why have I never thought of that? So thank you.
You're welcome, and you're not alone. Yeah, I only started doing it maybe this semester or next because I forget that when they get the announcements, they can't see the images or the video sometimes. So I realized just put it in with the module folder already. So you're not alone.
It's so simple, but so brilliant. Like, I never thought of that.
Yeah, that's really, so you just link it in the module as Right to Canvas Studio, or?
That's another good idea too. In the announcements, I could put the hyperlink, but in the announcement, I'll embed the video. And then I'll usually try to say something, especially towards the start of the semester. I'll say, make sure you click on the announcement section to see this, or you can watch it in the module. So I'll give them the direction where they can watch it. And on the Canvas page, I'll do the embedding with Canvas Studio right on the Canvas page.
Yeah, I like that. That's an important tip, to put it in the module. Yeah. Okay. Have I left anybody out that wanted to comment or ask any questions? Okay, this is so great. I'm so excited. All right. Next up, we have a RSI example from another one of our committee members, Ryan Moore. And so is everybody seeing just a blank black with a play?
Hi, everybody. I wanted to share about my student-to-student RSI for my online Calculus 1 course. This is actually from this semester. Here's the Canvas page, obviously. Let me go on over to assignments. Each unit, I like to assign a group project. Students will be in groups of, I aim for 3 in each group. And what I like to do is have them kind of chat about something. So I like to begin with an icebreaker. I'll just go right here to the bullet points. As an icebreaker in their discussion thread, which I'll show you in a moment, share a couple things about yourself, keeping it fun. For this first group project, they then do some reading, which is like, kind of like the origins of calculus from the book. From there, again, in this particular group project, they then find some video resources for those things that they read about. So they kind of collaborate there, do that together. And then finally, they complete a couple of problems from the textbook, and that might be homework problems, or it might be other problems not from homework that I pick. Give them a little bit more information on how to connect with one another, and I'll show you how they do that. They click on people. When they do that, they come to this page and they can click, this is everybody, they can click on project 1.
Was that it, Ryan? Or did it?
No, it should go all the way to.
Okay, that's what I
3 minutes.
thought. Let me try to reload it. Yeah, it didn't. Let's see.
Can we make the video bigger? I can't really read what's happening.
Yeah.
Right.
Better?
All right.
Okay. What minute did it, was it minute 1 something?
I think if we started at 1 minute, I think might get a little overlap, but
I think I saw 126.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, that's better.
Sorry about that, everyone. I'm a newbie at holding a professional development on Zoom.
And then go and find their group. They're only able to access. Go and find their group. They're only able to access their personal group. Obviously, this is set up as a Canvas group assignment. So I'll just show you what group 1 did. It's these 3 students. If I go to their homepage, I create a discussion that they get to rather quickly. It's not quite as many clicks as you just saw. And so what I do here is I say hi to them each by name, which I think is nice in an asynchronous course. I copy over those instructions, a little bit more information on how to connect with one another, and then 2 specific problems that this group will do from the textbook. I give different problems to each group. And, when there's only about 3 students per group, I think this first project, we had about 13 or 14 different groups. So it's nice to give them different problems for each group. And then some information on exactly how to submit. They find in this one, right, they say hi to each other. I'll show you down here. They do the icebreaker here in the discussion thread, and this is already created, so they can just reply. They kind of chat a little bit, and then they figure out how they want to work on this. And, they find those videos and the work on the problem. They submit all those back here into the group project 1 assignment page. And there you go. So I've really found this to be really positive for the community in the classroom. It's my 2nd semester trying it, and I really like this. It really, really brings fun and energizing community for an asynchronous course. That's all.
Thank you, Ryan. I love that part of how you address the students personally by name in each group. That's really fantastic. Does anybody have any comments or questions for Ryan?
I have a comment, and I might have shared this with our committee when you first showed it to us, Ryan. But I really appreciate it for a lot of reasons, but it's one thing that really stands out to me is that it's pretty easy to do with your existing assignments. So you have the discussion or the problem sets already, and then you're just adding that element of fun in, as you mentioned, and kind of keeping it lighthearted and encouraging them to interact with ways that are more informal and fun, which is important in the online classroom. And so I think that's really well done.
All right, thank you.
Melissa.
Hey, quick question, and you might have addressed this, but I was so focused on trying to read it. My brain
Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. It's just I hate when my brain does that. It shuts off and it could only focus on one thing. Can have you had any issues with, like, let's say there's 3 people in a group and let's say 2 of them like do that thing where they just like fall off the map? Have you had any issues with that? And like, if that person's now alone, like, do you have to switch groups? Like, how does that work?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Especially when you get near, when we got near the drop deadline this semester, it happened that one of the groups, 2 of the students ended up dropping. I assigned it, and then we had the drop deadline, and it was due the week following, and there ended up just being the one student who completed it. What I do, the way it's, the points are set up, it's, they share something, and then a lot of times they have to respond, and just kind of respond about something that they resonate with, or that might be part of the icebreaker, and then obviously working on the problem together. If someone, typically it has happened, but it's unusual that only one person will end up doing it. It's more often that there's a single individual that doesn't participate. And so in that case, I do not penalize the 2 people who contributed as much as they were limited to. So if they did everything they could, then they get full points. There's a way that you can set up the grading for a group assignment. You can either have Canvas give the same grade to each group, and so it just, you just grade the group and it gives all those 3 or 4 people the same grade, or you can grade students individually. And so I realized over the summer when I tried this, I better set it up as grading them individually in case somebody doesn't participate. In the cases where it has just been one person, or what can happen is people they jump into the group, the day before it's due, or the day that it's due, when they had maybe a week to complete this thing together. In cases where it's, it's coming down to the wire, I'll accept late submissions on these things. I'll let people, there's a due date to motivate them to finish it, but if someone doesn't participate and they say, oh, can I still get credit? Okay, maybe now you have to do it on your own, but you can still go in and do the icebreaker, and you can still complete the problems by yourself, or whatever it might have you. If there are corrections, if they get the problems wrong, I let them do corrections. Does that address? I think your question was just about participation and have I had problems? So yeah, definitely have. But eventually everybody's come around and they complete those things. And so, yeah, the more of a soft deadline, not that I share that with them.
Yeah, I guess my question was mainly like on your end, if it's difficult to
okay.
switch, like, do you have to switch people and that kind of thing? It sounds like you just kind of keep them in the group.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I haven't switched anyone. I haven't had to go there. There was one person that joined the class right before the ad drop deadline, and they had their first project, and I just said, hey, you've got a new group member now, say hi to Adam, or and that was fine.
Anybody else have some comments or questions for Ryan? I really like how this example combines regular substantive interaction, not just with you, but between the students as well. So I think that's a really neat kind of double whammy of going about this. So yeah. All right. Last call for questions, comments for Ryan. Okay, let's move on. Thank you so much, Ryan.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay. So next up, we have Gina. And I will make sure to go to, is that full screen now? Okay, wonderful. Okay, so I will start this, and here we go with Gina.
Hi, I am Gina Bokikio from the Physical Science Department, and I'm going to be talking about regular substantive interaction, RSI, in a large DE Gen Ed science class. The classes I teach are kind of listed around the graphic, and the graphic is from University of Texas. I have the URL down here, and it's a nice one that shows the differences between distance education and correspondence type level courses. And the difference, of course, is RSI. So I'd like to start out with a little bit more about the classes that I teach. And those classes that I teach DE are large classes with a 45-person cap. They are science classes for non-majors. So that means there's no science background or college level prerequisites necessary. And to top it off, earth science is often suggested to students that say that they're afraid or that they don't like science. So I have a pretty tough crowd. So I start with a welcome video. The welcome video is a good, good way to dip your toe in videos if you haven't gotten ready to make video lectures for all 16 of your lectures. And it sets the tone for a welcoming kind of environment. And I follow that up with a introductions all around discussion post, and I grade that to provide motivation to actually do it. I thought the writing would be really small, so I actually put some bullets here to tell you what the things were that I wrote in the post, but I think you can see it. And I think this and the video really help. So let's look at some of the things that that are on the green side of this little graphic. Two of them are weekly announcements explaining content and regular office hours. So here's an example of my weekly announcement. And so this one, I talk about the assignment. This particular assignment is fairly technical because they've got graphing. And so I have talking about a few ways to what platforms they should use. You can see that I said that I have some videos that I made about how to graph the data with the different platforms. And then I often find myself making use of the weekly announcement to advertise my Zoom office hours. And so I have a Zoom link on the navigation left-hand, part of the Zoom page Canvas page. And that way, no matter where they are in Canvas, they can always go to the Zoom link and find my office hours. Then there are graded assignments with feedback, and that's always kind of the boogeyman for those of us with these large classes. However, I think that you don't have to have one every single week. And so I have 9 in this class. I think 9 is usually 9 or 10 is what I have. So these are assignments with questions that are not multiple choice that I've come up with. And then I grade them. So here's a speed grader in Canvas. And you can see I've asked them to do some grading, some graphing, and then compare their graph with another graph that I provided. And then I put the information in the feedback in the speed grader. It talks about assessments. Those are tests and quizzes with feedback, but I'm not there yet. So I think that, you have to do the best you can do with what you've got. And with a large class like this, I feel that the activity assignments and the discussions I do provide instructor feedback, and that weekly quizzes are better for the students than 1 or 2 big midterms. And that way the students, have more of a motivation to keep up with the material. But I can't, with a cap of 45 and, 3 classes like this, I just can't, I haven't gotten to the point where I can do assessments with my own feedback. So it's a process. I do have instructor initiated discussions, and those are based on the readings, the videos, either mine or the ones that I put up, and general news topics. And I'm lucky, at least with the climate class, this one's the climate class, that there's a lot of things in the news that we can discuss. So you can see the first post is the introduction. The last post is a reflection, a chance for students to talk about what they got out of the course, what they were disappointed about the class, etc. And then I provide feedback for everybody who does a discussion, who answers the discussion post in the speed grader. So that's about it. I think I've covered all of these. And if this is not a place that, if we're not showing this video in a place where we can answer questions right now, I have my name here. I have my email address. Please feel free to drop me a line and see how I handle these large classes for non-majors and providing RSI. Hi, I am Gina Bokikio.
Thank you so much for that, Gina. I really like how you specify that, hey, it's really hard or it's different to do RSI in a very large class. So really, I think, that's a great point that I really haven't had I have it at the top of my head when I'm grading for my classes, because my caps are 35 and I do a lot of writing, but I'm not an English professor. So yeah, I really liked that you pointed that out and found a way to achieve RSI with a very large class size. So yeah, I liked that. Anybody with comments or questions for Gina?
I'll share a comment just because we were talking about the poker review and online course review. Angela and I were just at a meeting. And so I really appreciate your example of having a variety of quizzes that are more low stakes, but also giving that instructor feedback. So I thought it was a really good example of the instructor, particularly instructor feedback to students. So thank you.
Well, I have to say that the quizzes I actually don't give. The quizzes are kind of old-fashioned multiple choice. One thing I do, so I provide feedback at the in the assignments that I do, and also in the discussions. And between assignments and discussions, I probably have one of each, either one or both of them every week. And then the weekly quiz, that's kind of old fashioned. I was going to say test bank, but they probably started out test bank, but over the many years I've been doing this, I've changed a lot of the questions. And that, even before AI, the multiple choice questions from a test bank, as you guys all know, are all on the internet. So you just can't even have a question that's not, the answer isn't right away on the internet. I mean, like, I wouldn't mind if they Googled the answer and had to read an article or had to read something to find the answer. I just hate when it's like right up there in the bar. So I've gone to a lot of trouble to change those questions to make them, I actually field test them, and I like, okay, if I wanted to find the answer to this without doing the reading and I went on the internet, would it come up in the bar? So that's what I'm really, looking for. And I'm using ChatGPT too to say, what does ChatGPT say when you ask this question? Because yeah, I think that I don't expect my students to have done the reading and then answer these questions without looking at any material. I mean, that's right. I'm just trying to change the questions so that they have to do some research to find the answers. In fact, I've noticed that a lot of my questions in any one of these quizzes, a lot of times it's like, which of the following is true about paleontology? Because that's like such a, if you say which of the following is true, a lot of times, it's just hard to look that up. You have to either look up every answer and say, how does this relate to something? And so that's kind of what I'm doing until I could get to the point where I'm pro rata, and then I only have 1 or 2 classes a semester, and then maybe I could do more open-ended quizzes.
Yeah, that's a big class size, Gina. Any other comments or questions for Gina? I love this is this from University of Texas or this graphic? I really
Yeah,
like.
I just I Googled it.
Yeah.
So remember a couple weeks back when we were talking about RSI,
Yeah, you've
I
showed
brought
this
this up.
before
Yeah,
and
I
then I
did.
forgot about it. It's great.
And it's a good alternative. I actually the graphic that Dave has on the video, when
Hmm.
you try to copy it, I haven't seen it anywhere except in his video. And when you try to copy it from his video, it's really fuzzy. It looks
Yeah,
terrible.
like trying to screenshot it and then,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So so I was Googling other stuff and I think this one's pretty nice.
Yeah,
And
I
it
was
is,
just like before our meeting, I just Googled like RSI. I had it one time, maybe months ago, found this fantastic PowerPoint on RSI. I want to say it was maybe Riverside Community College, but then when I go back to try to find it, I can't find it. But, you know, there's really good resources if you look at some of the other California community colleges have great RSI stuff. So I think that's really neat that you brought this in from another institution. I think that's we're all in this together, sharing information and having to abide by these same changes in state and federal regulations. So yeah. Anything else for Gina before I go on to the next one? Okay, well then our fourth and final video for this RSI showcase is something that I do in my classes. I just did one of them yesterday afternoon. Went pretty well. So let me see if I can find it. It was supposed to be queued up here. You all able to see that? Hi everyone, my name's Angela Romero and I teach political science at Miramar College, and I'm making this video to share with you one of the activities I do to foster regular and substantive interaction, also known as RSI, in my classes. So on the screen here I have one of my current assignments, and it is current events. So for every module I'll make article assignments that are contemporary illustrations of concepts the students are reading about in their texts. It's always a lively and fun discussion. This week we're talking about political parties and interest groups. And so I have a very traditional discussion board here. Participate in the written discussion board. I always give very, very detailed prompts, as you can see. But the other option that I offer, and it's not highlighted as it should be, but it's right here. It's option 2. And what I offer students is, in lieu of participating in the written discussion board, I throw out a time. Again, that doesn't always work for all students, but I usually survey students at the beginning and just allow them the option of participating in a Zoom discussion board rather than writing. I started this really during COVID because I wanted to be there for the students that were forced to be online and maybe really didn't thrive online. But I've continued it this semester when I'm all online. I always make sure early in the semester that the students know I don't cold call on anybody. Chat's really useful to engage and elevate those voices that really don't want to talk as much. Let's see. Anyway, I have about, maybe a handful of students that will actually utilize this option. And I take down their names, and right now there's about 25 of them. It's usually the same ones that continually want to come to the Zoom sessions, and I've had really good feedback. So if you'd like to offer students an RSI opportunity where they can discuss in a synchronous way you might try this idea. Another kind of spin on this is I've offered Zoom watch parties in the past, and this is particularly useful to offer when there's a State of the Union address, for example, or any kind of important politically related media that's going to be aired. It's really nice to be on Zoom with the students and as a community have a discussion live while some of these events are going on. Anyway, I hope this was useful for you. Thanks for listening. Bye. Okay, so that's just an example of what I do. Let's see, last night I only had maybe 10 students show up, but it gives them, you know, and I've been experimenting with this. I think it works pretty well. Yesterday, I had them all go on a Padlet, and it was kind of a different setup where I asked them, hey, what do you think is the most important current events issue that I haven't assigned over the semester? And that was really fun. I had them go on a Padlet and write down what they thought was an important issue that hadn't been covered, and then we all discussed it. And yeah, I've had really good and positive feedback. Again, the vast majority of students do not take advantage of the option, but I really like interacting with students in real time. And so the ones that show up do too. And, you know, it's just something, an example of an optional type of RSI that works for students that like to have more interaction in real time. So yeah, any questions or comments for me? Scott.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
I can.
Great. So I like it, and I like the that it sounds like it's a substitute for the writing assignment, essentially. I don't know if I can put it that way or not, but that sounds like, because I have weekly Zoom Q&A sessions for students, which are synchronous, but I have to tell you, my attendance is worse than what you're describing. Basically, usually what happens each semester is I get a few students who are really into it, and then that's kind of mostly the students who do it, and the rest of them don't. But I don't give any kind of credit in any way for it. It's just a way for them to get interactive communication if that's what they want. And it's totally optional. And I always made it that way because I thought, well, I have some students who are in the military or something, or they have these other reasons why they can't. Maybe that's why they're taking an online class, I suppose, and they can't meet a scheduled time. But I really like what you said about making it an alternative. I'm going to think about doing that in the future, because that might be a way to get more participation. So thanks.
Yeah, I feel like I also have this, Q&A every Tuesday, and I offer 20 points for that, for coming and seeing me in my office, because I like interacting with students. Nobody comes. Like one person has, like, I sit there every Tuesday.
Wow.
Yeah, but I'm finding, so with this, you're exactly right. Instead of writing on the discussion board, if they come to the Zoom meeting and I start out with like, okay, here's the rules of how you would get full credit for this discussion board by attending the Zoom. But yeah, I've had, this semester's been, small, like in the teens, but by giving them that option, like, hey, you can knock out an assignment without going on the discussion board and meet with other students in your class and meet with me. I feel like making it worth the same number of points as the discussion board, that really works. That really works. And then, like, with the watch parties that I've mentioned at the end, the only time, like, I I once had like over 90 people at a watch party,
Oh.
but I'm telling you, it's just, I think it's because of what I teach. It
Mm.
was it was the Biden-Trump debate.
Mm.
And yeah, and the students, they want to come, they want to hear the debate, they want to be on chat with the other students. It was amazing. I'm telling you all, I'm so looking forward to this next election because it's such a great teaching opportunity. And like, I'll hold these watch parties again. I had like 91 people. I was stunned. I was going to do the DeSantis debate as a watch party, but I'm just too behind, so I didn't get it set up in time. But I don't know. I like this as an example of RSI. But again, it's not one that, you know, can definitely sweep up all the students, but some. And then I have, you know, this is just one example. So.
No, that's really great. And how do you, if you don't mind, just one more question. Technically speaking, how do you go about setting up the watch parties? Because I haven't done that, but it sounds like a good idea.
Yeah. So, oh my gosh. I'm hoping my technology is going to be a little better in the fall. But I will just get the debate on my computer, and then I'll invite them on Zoom, and it's very similar to what we're doing right now.
Okay.
You know, and we're just watching it together. We're watching this. I've also done it, you know, another thing I do is I have a few documentaries in my classes that are a little difficult to watch. I also will offer, hey, do you want to come and watch that as a class? And I'll help you out. Like as an incentive, I'll be like, I'll help you out with the answers to the essay related to this if you do the watch party. So, and with that, it's a PBS documentary. I just put it on my computer, set up the Zoom, the chat's going, I'm answering questions, like, or they're talking to each other, like, wow, I didn't know that happened, or, you know, so I like it. Because I really feel like, you know, there's some students that they're doing asynchronous online, but they're also a little isolated. I know I feel that way teaching online. So I really like it when they show up to my watch parties.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Melissa.
Sorry, I was muted again. I put a couple questions in the chat. One was,
oh, sorry, I didn't see.
Oh, no problem. I figured you had your screen share, so you probably didn't see it. One was, what program did you use to like record that video? It was just interesting, the little floating head.
Oh, yeah. My floating head.
Yeah, like what program is that?
I do that on my announcement videos as well, so that I can go through the announcement and like point to different things. It's Screen Pal.
What?
Screen Pal.
Screen Pal. Okay.
It used to be called Screencast-O-Matic, and I got introduced to it like way back when David Giberson was kind of like my mentor, and then I think they recently changed to Screen Pal. And when you set up your webcam to record, it gives you different options of how, if you want to appear on the screen, how you want to appear on the screen. I struggle with Canvas Studio. I don't know about anybody else, but I have a hard time recording on Canvas Studio. I've also used Zoom, but I like Screen Pal, and I think there is a subscription cost, but it's pretty nominal.
Okay, cool. And then another question I had was about with the optional Zoom instead of the discussion board. Do you have any like requirements for them? Like they need to attend the full 30 minutes or the full hour, or how does that work?
Yeah, I could get so into the weeds about my years of experience with, you know, because I start getting this, some people, they come in, they don't turn on their cameras. I'm like, that person is just you know, doing whatever and not participating and not hands-on. So I'll do the like last night I did the Padlet, and I'll check, like usually what I'll do is I'll come in and I have them put their name in the chat, and then I have them put their name in the chat at the end. And then I have them usually do some activity. Sometimes it's breakout room, sometimes it's a Padlet, it just varies. Also with the topic. And a couple weeks ago, we did Gaza and Israel, and I did breakout rooms for that. And then I usually will tell them to put, because their assignment looks like it's missing if they don't go into Canvas. So I'll usually have them go into Canvas and write some kind of like secret message or something. I don't know. I've had like all kinds of tricks to try to make sure, you know, like I don't like cold calling or anything like that, but and I allow them to use the chat. So like, for example, last night I had maybe 4 or 5 people that wanted to speak, and everybody else was in the chat or on Padlet. And that's okay, you know, because I actually hear a lot more from my students online about politics than I do when I'm in person in class. Right now, the environment is so polarized, and they're so afraid. They're so deeply afraid of offending another classmate in person that it's so difficult to the last time I was in fall 22, I was teaching a lot of classes on campus, and it was rough. I think that political science really lends itself well to this. I'm thinking hybrid too might be good, but people don't like to talk about politics. They just don't. So
Thank you. And then I had kind of more of a general question on the email from Laura. I think she had mentioned there were some new RSI requirements in DE. Is there a link to those? Where can I find those? Because I didn't see it in the email, but I don't know if it's like common knowledge that I missed.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So I don't have the link handy, but if you go to just Google, it's on the district website. If you just go SDCCD RSI, the district has a really great discussion of RSI, and Dave Giberson has like a 1-hour version of his discussion and then like a longer version of his discussion. Yeah. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, Laura. Yeah. And so like with the new guidelines, it used to be called regular effective interaction. And then there were some changes at the state level and also at the federal level that is important. And Gina actually had it in her video where that part where she was distinguishing between correspondence education and distance education. And the guidelines are important insofar as it really impacts financial aid if the courses don't qualify as distance education, but look more like correspondence. And that's why this has become such a big thing. And also for accreditation. The accreditation team that's coming to Miramar has told courses to look for RSI. Did that answer your question, Melissa?
Yeah. No, I'm looking at the site now. And there's a lot of stuff in there.
Yeah.
That's actually something that I mean, it's not surprising that there's been changes, because I think since COVID especially kind of highlighted what people were doing and not doing online. I think there's been a lot of like variation between different schools and everything. So it's like, what is acceptable? What's the minimum requirement? You know, that kind of thing is definitely been a conversation among other faculty. So great, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. All right, we have about 3 minutes left. Can wrap it up if anybody doesn't have any last minute questions or comments. Thank you everybody that shared your videos. I appreciate that so much. I learned so much from everyone. And thank you to everyone that showed up. We were thinking that we weren't going to have as good of a turnout as we did. So I am super pleased. Everybody, good luck with the rest of your semester, and I will see you around. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, chair, DE chair,
Interim.
interim chair.